When your wife walks into the room, do you feel anxious? Are you worried that she's going to say something to disturb the peace, to tell you that she is done, or she confesses to you that there might be another guy? Those thoughts are completely justified, given her back and forth nature, showing signs that she wants to work on the marriage and she plans trysts with you, but then the next day, she's saying things like, there's no chance, go move on, find another woman. She's so difficult. But guess what? Your wife doesn't actually want to be this way. In fact, her back and forth nature, her stubborn demeanor, when she becomes cold and distant, it is simply a response, a reaction to your inactive masculine expression. And a man who is able to unlock this expression discovers new love, appreciation, and respect from her that he never thought possible. In the next few minutes, I will show you the truth on why she became so stubborn and disconnected from you. This one is hard for most men to hear, but if you're someone who likes to be told how it is, then stick around for it. Next, you're going to learn a new truth about women that I've discovered recently that will completely shock you about her nature. And I'm going to show you how to embody the paradox of attraction. This is also known in my program as the Apex Law. And then finally, the last thing is a unique solution to the first problem that I laid out. But let's jump into that problem right now, which is the stubborn wife problem. How did you get here with her? Was she always this stubborn? Maybe. Some men will blame it on menopause, aging, empty nest syndrome. But at the end of the day, she can be feminine with the right man, can't she? That may hurt, but we have to operate from this truth because you've been that man at times. You changed, not her. See, the feminine seeks flow, more, and constant change. The masculine seeks stability, peace, order, and sameness. In the relationship, when she first wanted your love, you gave it all to her. Then she wanted to move in. Sure, let's get a place. Then it was marriage. Until death do us part. What came next? Of course, the kids. Sometimes one, but for most guys, it's 2 or 3. But what after that? What's next for her? See, for a woman, what keeps her happy is always what is next. She wants what she currently doesn't have. Now, you can argue this is true for men and women. I mean, dopamine is what keeps us moving toward our goals. It's not released when we achieve something. We feel pretty empty when we get the thing we wanted. I mean, there's a bit of euphoria, but then nothingness. It is the act of desire that keeps a woman happy in a relationship. And it's why you're actually watching me right now. See, you're expecting to learn something new right now that you haven't yet to unlock new information, action, and results that you want. So what's the problem when it comes to her wanting more? Well, for most men, after the kids, they stop thinking that they had to really get to the next level. They fall into what every single guy I work with has, which is the complacency trap. This gray zone is where marriages go to die. It's a slow decay on intimacy and connection. Passion quickly fades away. And when she is understimulated and bored, she's going to associate you with her sense of nothingness because the feminine expects on a spiritual level from her partner to be led and guided. This begins the division between your passion and love. And it's only made worse by this other aspect of female nature I recently discovered. Once you recognize this in her, you'll have a newfound appreciation for her. Let's talk about how she receives and amplifies. If you had to ask me one thing that really causes relationships to fail, it's a lack of understanding our core differences between men and women. Not just our likes and our values and our habits. Yes, those matter, but I'm referring to masculine and feminine polarity. If you've heard of this concept before, it's more than simple attraction mechanisms. The more I learn about it, it's actually a spiritual paradigm that leads to deep romance, lifelong love when it's fully understood correctly. And a lack of understanding this concept on an intuitive level, the skill, it leads to the demise and karmic cycle of pain in relationships. All right, it's a big thing. Now, one of the most profound components of the feminine archetype that most guys don't fully grasp is her ability to receive and amplify. What does this mean? I want you to think of her as magnifying glass. She shows a mirror up to you, takes what you give her, and then amplifies it back. Every quality, good and bad. Let me give you a few examples on the good and bad side so you can fully grasp this. Let's talk about her vindictive nature, right? You hurt her or betray her, she will get you back and then some. Nothing is more damaging to a man than a scorned woman. Second example is arousal. Let's say you get turned on. The more you are turned on by her, the more she gets turned on. It's like a turned on wheel that just flywheel that just keeps on spinning. It's good, right? If you feel insecure in the relationship, maybe she's cheating on you, you're checking her phone, she's all of a sudden going to get insecure as well because she's thinking, if he's insecure, why shouldn't I be? And then lastly, your devotion. In the beginning of the relationship, when you were giving your love and your commitment, you were giving her more and you were showing you wanted to love her deeper and you wanted to do everything in the world. You looked at her like she was the only person in the world. You were complimenting her constantly. You were showering her with so much love and commitment. She took that and just melted for you. But along the line, you let that go. Even in the beginning of my relationship a few years ago, I didn't recognize how this thing was playing out with me. My partner was going to go up to Seattle and I said I was going to follow her, right? But when she was up there for a couple months before I got there, she was constantly asking me if I was sure I wanted to go. And I was telling her, yeah, of course I want to go. Yeah, I want to go. For sure I did. Right. And then eventually, when she wasn't getting the answers that she wanted, she started to say things like, maybe you shouldn't come. And eventually, I don't even want you to come anymore. And in my head at the time, what I was thinking, what I was complaining about was, I'm willing to sacrifice so much for this woman, to change my whole life, to move out of the best city in the world, San Diego, to move to this other state to make her happy. But if I were to be honest with myself in that moment, I wasn't 100% sure it was the right move. I was hesitant. And I guarantee through her intuitive nature, as women are, she could sense in my tone, in my demeanor, and how often I called her, and the way I spoke to her differently than in the beginning, that there was a shift in energy, that I wasn't fully committed. And my fear and uncertainty only guided her to give it back to me more. And when she was uncertain, it made me more uncertain. And you see how that vicious cycle can play out. Luckily, I was able to recognize that those were tests from her. I knew how to pass those tests, which, by the way, I'm going to give you an awesome testing video at the end of this one. It's my favorite video on this channel, how to pass all of her tests. And you can set up a free call with our team down below to get an evaluation call. Just make sure you're fully committed. We can help you save your relationship. All right, the next concept is to use assured indifference. Now, I mentioned the Apex Man on this channel frequently. Let me go over 10 core pillars that he has so you can see where you're at. Number one is emotional mastery. The Apex Man maintains composure under pressure. He understands his emotions deeply and processes them constructively without being reactive. Number two, integrity is always there. He follows through in his word, aligning his actions with his values, building trust in every relationship. Number three, he's purpose-driven. He has a clear sense of purpose and mission, prioritizing his goals and values over fleeting distractions and external validation. Number four, he embodies leadership. He leads his life and relationships with confidence and clarity, setting the tone for emotional safety, growth, and connection. Number five, he has unwavering confidence. He trusts in his abilities and his decisions without arrogance, remaining grounded in his self-worth regardless of external circumstances. Number six, he has compassion and strength. He balances his strengths with empathy, showing kindness and understanding while maintaining strong boundaries and standards. Number seven will be the next point. It's the whole point. It deserves it. So we're going to skip number seven and go to number eight. Number eight, he's resilient and grounding. He adapts to adversity with grace and fortitude, staying rooted in his values and long-term vision despite temporary setbacks. Number nine, he is present. He fully engages in the moment, offering undivided attention and energy to his partner, family, and work without being distracted by outside noise. Number 10, he has healthy masculine polarity. He embodies secure masculine traits like decisiveness, protectiveness, and the ability to hold space, creating natural attraction and harmony with the feminine. If you feel like you don't have all 10 of those all the time, no one does. So I don't want you to fret about that, okay? There are ideals to consistently work toward. When you're held accountable with other guys pushing you every single day, it keeps you on track when normally you would give up or you fall back, you beat yourself up. Knowing those goals and seeing them every day and having guardrails and going against them, that's what leads to success little by little. Now, the final mindset is the Apex Ascension mindset. This was the 7th principle out of the 10, and it deserves its own deep dive. When fully mastered and understood, it creates that unwavering desire that keeps her wanting you every single day more and more. This is about living fear forward. What do I mean by this? Fear is a compass pointing you toward the growth you seek. Lean into it, for what you resist often holds the key to your becoming. David Deida, in his book, The Way of Superior Man, also talks about this idea of leaning into your edge and leaning towards fear. He says, your edge is where you stop short, where you compromise your fullest gift, and where you settle for less than you know you're capable of. The first sub-idea I want to give you in this core principle is that she knows your edge. She knows you. She knows what you're capable of. She knows when you are falling short. She remembers those ambitions that you had, that when you came across a setback, if you gave up or if you pushed forward, if you showed discipline and ambition and confidence or cowered away. And every time she feels disappointed in you, turned off, it's because you were not leaning towards your edge. You were not going towards what you were afraid of. You were giving up. Let's talk about, though, what happens when you get this right. When you consistently find where your fear is, you establish goals you want to achieve, and you tell yourself nothing will stop you from getting those. What that does is that allows her to fall deeply in love with you more and more. But why is this helpful? Let's look at 3 core reasons when you get this right, why it helps your relationship and marriage, why she stays just deeper in love with you every single day. The first is that it provides her with a core need of novelty. We talked about earlier that boredom, that death, that stagnation, that complacency. This exactly combats that. When you are constantly learning about yourself and you're growing, you're bringing her different pieces of educational content, different courses you want to go to, ways to develop yourself, new skills, new habits. And when you're talking to her at the dinner table, there's always something new to talk about. Your passion, that passion for finding out new things and learning, she feeds off that energy. It gives her life force. Number 2, it provides her adventure. You see, women want to be led. I'll say that again. All women want to be led. One of the biggest gifts you can give her is to lead her. Now, on the macro of the relationship, yes, definitely lead the relationship in terms of the milestones you want to achieve, larger goals, how you want the relationship to look like. But on a micro level, are you going to take her on that date on the weekend? Are you planning a trip a few months out and you're actually going to follow up with it? Are you putting her as a priority to go have novel experiences with her? I know it connects to novelty, the previous one, but that adventure creates a special type of novelty where she knows it's always going to be an adventure with you. It's always going to be fun, right? Girls just want to have fun. At the end of the day, she wants that stimulation. And you can provide it with her by wanting to explore things yourself. I mean, hell, there's so many national parks in the US alone that you guys can go to. I guarantee there's one by your state, wherever you're living in the world too, that you guys probably even haven't gone to. A national park, just going on an adventure in nature. It's free. Okay, the third component of why this is helpful to adopt this apex ascension mindset is put your purpose first. A woman wants her man to put his purpose above all else. The reason for being on this planet. The Japanese concept is called ikigai. It is your reason for being. Your reason for being is not her. And a lot of men that come to our program, over the years, they've put their sense of self. They've depended on their own worth from their wife. You know this is happening to you when you are constantly looking for her validation, or her opinion can crush you or make you in jubilation bliss because of one person's opinion. I know you care about her. That's somewhat normal, but to put your own self-worth for the words that she says to you, that is not normal. And when you put your purpose above all else, what happens is that she feels that she can rely on you. It leads into that leadership role again. Now, a big caveat with this, a lot of guys that come to our program, they're very successful. They work a lot of hard hours and they say, my wife tells me that I actually work too much. My response is always the same to that, okay? It is not the amount of time you spend with her, but the quality of it. You see, a lot of men who are working those long hours, when they come home, they don't turn it off. They don't say, all right, wife time, kids time, whatever. Like, I'm gonna give her my full undivided attention. I'm gonna sit her down. I'm gonna rub her back and say, how was your day, baby? Like, did you have a good day? Tell me all about it. I'm here to listen, okay? Because she would rather have 30 minutes to an hour of your undivided full attention than 4 to 5 hours of scattered attention where you're checking work emails or you're distracted in your own mind, okay? So that's a big caveat on the purpose. Before I show you the testing video that you guys can watch, it's any and all of the tests using my framework, one of my favorite on this channel, I wanna let you know that by far the best way to stay in that purpose is to be around other men. Iron sharpens iron. Other guys are gonna push you every single day, on the same journey as you, go through the same struggles. There's a sense of magic amongst that environment that just cultivates massive growth that saves marriages and keeps relationships together. So that's important to you. You guys check out the link down below to set up a free call with our team. Thanks for watching. Here's the video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.